embetter these people.
We're gonna move on because there was a particular topic, and these topics will go so they're good. What I'm saying is we want to conclude with another topic, right? And this is our corner. It's based on black issues, right? And black people find solutions, but other communities are welcome to learn and contribute. But the topic we're going to talk about is how, as a community, do we defend our women? Content over everything. Yeah. And the reason why this topic comes up is because, first of all, there's always issues in all communities when it comes to protecting women, right? Yeah. But this is not a black issue, but we're going to make it a black issue because we want to see how to do it in the community, right? So stay easy, bro. Yeah.
Is this off the topic of Mr. Kelly?
Well, go on, say, my friend. Go on, say, uncle. Yeah. So it's many things, but more particularly, there was an issue on the family. There was an issue where a recording where some young a guy was attacking a woman openly in London somewhere, right? So the question is,
outside?
Yeah. So I want to talk about, as a community, how do we protect our women from this? So, for example, you know, is there a reason why we should be doing this, right? And if it is happening, why it's happening, and what should be done about it?
What about women protecting themselves?
Well, this is an argument we can push forward, but what I'm saying is this is the crux, right? But we're tackling it from a black perspective. But obviously, as a European person or whatever you identify, you might have a solution, but we are looking for the cultural solution, yeah, of why this happened.
Can I start off?
If you can.
If I can, I'll try to, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so I would ask this first question. What was the reason why she got attacked? Was there a specific reason why she got attacked?
Let me say, yeah, regardless of what she did, yeah, as long as it wasn't physical, yeah, and she wasn't a threat to the individual, then that shouldn't have happened, regardless.
That's why I'm asking, because what I'm saying is, if she
get some space between you, just so the camera.
If she just attacked, if she attacked someone and she's got attacked back for a reason. If she was saying something to hurt someone's feelings,
what we saw,
she got attacked back for a reason.
So here's what we've seen. There was a disagreement in the club of two strangers, from what I've seen, and basically outside the arguments continued, and the gentleman removed his garments to actually start striking her. And then once he removed his garments from the back and forth verbal attacks between them, he started giving her like a MMA kind of thrashing. It wasn't like a grabbing or a shouting. It was like an actual like it wasn't a Russell tussle. It was precision blows.
Oh my God, smashing.
Yeah, precision blows.
Grievous bodily harm.
Yeah.
Under British law.
So you see that same thing now, yeah?
But it's not restricted to the video.
See that same
It's
thing.
not the video, but this
See that same thing, like protecting our women.
Yeah.
Well, women kind of putting themselves in that position, like you can't hold people's hands and tell them what to do in life, right? But as for that man,
right,
there should be judgment for that man as well. You know what I mean? Because a man shouldn't stoop that low to kind of hit women. There are some big Tonka Blanca women out there nowadays, and they can defend themselves and beat up a man.
If she knows how to handle herself, she might be dangerous.
She might be dangerous. You know what I mean? So
but we have to have a universal principle, surely, right?
Yeah.
Like we either should attack women or we shouldn't.
No.
Okay.
No matter how big or they
the
are.
universal principle needs to be the rule of law.
Well, so what happens is the law says you shouldn't kill people get killed. So we're trying to have a community solution, meaning that we don't have to
So the best way to protect any group in society is to ensure that the laws apply and wrongdoers are caught.
Yeah, but if you don't control legislation, then it means it doesn't mean anything to say go by the law. If you cannot determine
there is only the law. If we don't have the law, then we have groups taking the law into their own hands.
Before we get there, what we're saying is, if there's cultural attitudes and certain ways of raising people, it will minimize certain actions from happening, right? So yes, the law is the last result. But if I have a child and I'm raising my child how to look after women, how to look after men, and so forth, then that should hopefully minimize the likelihood that a man is going to strike a woman. You see what I'm saying? But if he does, we have the law. But I'm saying before we get there,
you see the brothers that was around that specific time. They're big hypocrites because you know how you used to say black embetterment. Remember, like the person that rubs off of me is going to be like how I am. So that's how it does it. Through him saying that you shouldn't do that, you say we shouldn't do that. Then you got 20 guys saying that we shouldn't do that. The one guy that comes in now and starts doing that, there's 20 guys now that are saying we shouldn't do this.
Yeah, but if there's 20 guys, if they look, the way society is most people are conform. If there's 20 men saying this is a bad idea, that one you, it's highly unlikely for him to go forward and do the action on his own because you've got 20 other deterrents from that.
That's what I'm saying.
But what I'm saying is, for me, if I was there, best believe I'm not getting involved.
But then you see,
that's me. As I stand now, the reason why is I'm not white knighting for anyone. Yeah. Sometimes you get into these situations, and I'm not talking about that specific one. Yeah. But there's been many a time where I've seen a man handling a woman. I've gone to get involved. She said, "Leave it. No, he's my boyfriend. I'm the aggressor. I'm not getting in trouble for no one."
Let's unpack that. Let's unpack that.
If you're,
let's unpack that.
She was in a place she shouldn't have been.
Okay. So you wouldn't involve the police?
But no.
Okay.
Let me tell you a story.
I've never gone to the police and I never walked.
Want to show you why?
Let
Because
me
you
tell
see
you a
when
story where I'm coming from. I grew up in a civil war. I grew up where the law broke down. I grew up in Belfast. Right, what happened? Armed, masked paramilitary forces went out onto the streets and they dealt out their justice. Kangaroo courts, people were beaten up, covered in tar, and all the rest of it. So when people such as yourself, for whatever reason, say, "Oh, the rule of law, the police, whatever," that kind of chills me. Because I've actually lived for a short period in a society where the armed, sadistic people went out and did what they wanted.
I don't want to belittle. Sorry, but I don't want to belittle your experience. But have you ever lived in a country where the actual armed forces are the people that are oppressing and killing you? The same people that are supposed to be upholding the law, are the very ones committing the crimes. Have you ever lived in a situation? Have you ever lived in a situation like that? No, but I know a few.
I'm just conscious that we had a few.
I'm bringing it up because my fellow Africans. I know Africans that lived in apartheid South Africa.
But we live in this country.
No, I don't care. Well, in this country,
but before you guys go, remember there was a premise, right? The premise is how do we minimize violence towards women, right? And if we start talking about law and stuff, we're ignoring the crux, right? So I'm saying is, in these incidents, the law has been involved, right? But the further question is, how do we prevent it from even getting so it needs to be included in the law? So
that's a process of education.
That's where
and it's to do with male violence. Let's just call it what it is. Most violence in society is produced by men before the age of 30. Okay, there are 2 women killed, murdered by their partner or ex-partner in this society. Let me finish the point. There are 2 women killed by their partners or ex-partners every week in this society. If you had 2 people killed,
you're not listening. Yeah, you love your statistics.
What you're saying is we want to open up the path. You've given some good jewels, but can we just get the open up to get out of the and then because we understand the conclusion is
you haven't agreed with me that the problem is male violence.
Yes. Well, here's what it is, right? No one has to agree with anything, but what I'm saying is, right now we want to minimize.
That's what the facts point to, sir.
Maybe.
We can only the best way to go forward to find solutions to things is look at the facts.
4 seconds, right? I say this, right? Right now we understand this, right? We understand that men are committing these actions, and we're trying to find ways to do it, right? So we don't have to admit it's men because the fact that we're having this conversation.
So there's your problem.
Hold on. Yeah, okay, but what I'm saying, we're trying to unpack to find solutions, right? And remember, you might be unaware. This is actually a our corner concept, meaning that it's the black community trying to find the black issues, right? So we're trying to unravel.
The issues the same, independent
of
your skin
Now you give your 10 pence
If you're
piece,
a victim of a murderer, you're a victim of a murderer.
You give your 10 pence piece and it's appreciated, right? But now we're going to go around the circle and hear other people's opinion, right?
Yeah.
And we want to keep it fruitful. So go ahead.
So now when you were saying about Belfast, right? The guy was saying you can't mention. We haven't been to Belfast, so why are you mentioning Belfast? We haven't been to the night. We wasn't at the nightclub, but we're mentioning the nightclub. No one was at the nightclub. Was you there? But we're talking about it now. So you can't shun just because man haven't been to them countries and not lived under them conditions. That doesn't happen today. You know what I mean? That's just being a cop out. Oh, we just not talk about it because I haven't been through it. Because really and truly, when we look at the seed of it, it's most probably that hierarchy of your people doing that to that country anyway. So, you know what I mean? When we go into the root of the situation about bettering our people as a whole, collectively, we should have had people that are of that mind state that would say, yo, we shouldn't be no woman beaters or no Stella drinkers. We should have people around us that could say this man, yo, cuz, that's our gallem.
But that's another thing.
Like, we shouldn't be punching up our gallem. Look what we're showing the white man now. Look what we're showing the Arabian man.
Can I answer
that? We can just beat up our women.
Because
that's a curse on our people.
If you look at the white majority community in this country that are richer, more successful, etc. The violence exists in that community. So economic empowerment or economic development is not dealing with the issue of male violence.
Yeah, you're correct in this one. But what I'm saying is, I want to unpack something that brother has said. You said that if you came across a couple dispute, you're reluctant to try to help out if the woman's been abused because...
I'm not jumping in. That's my standpoint. As it stands now, if I see that violence, I'm not involved.
Right. So if you saw a man go up to a woman and just give her blows,
that's it. That's devices. And the reason why I'm saying this is because look, for me, I've got my own family, and my own well-being, to think of first. I don't know what circumstances led you there, right? I don't know.
That's why I had to ask that question.
I don't know anything surrounding those details.
You wouldn't report it to anyone.
No, hold on.
As a citizen, you would not report it to anyone.
Listen, I'm not calling no police. That's it. The
solution
for me is never going to be
let me have a dialogue with the brother.
No. That means that the perpetrator is likely to get away with it.
Yeah, okay.
So what says that if I call police, he's not likely to get away with it?
At least you've got a chance that he might be fined.
That's not my chance, innit? I'm not the one to get banged up.
If you abandon the rule of law, you're abandoning a big thing.
Okay, the end conclusion rule of law, now we're going to move on, right? It's like this, yeah? So you're saying you would, what if, this is, I'm just throwing out there, what if you walked down and you saw a woman in a hijab veil, all veiled up, and a man was attacking her, what would you do?
Now we're talking religiously.
No, there's a reason, there's a reason. So no, hold on.
I want to hear it.
Now for you, so we've said that if it's a couple you see, right, and then it's normal black, right? But what if one is veiled up?
So what? Are they both? I don't know, to be honest.
So it changes that?
It does.
Oh,
wait. Why does that change, man?
Let him explain why it changes.
Understand why it changes.
Why does it change?
Because of this current social climate when it comes to Islam and terrorism and the image of Islam.
Right.
That sister is more likely to be in that situation because of, like, it's a stranger. If it was a husband-woman's dynamic, and I could perceive that.
No, but we've identified male. Hold on. We've identified black male being up black female. You're saying this is a normal sister.
Do you want me to tell you why now? Can I answer why? Do you know why? Because you're not going to find a woman dressed up in a hijab going to the dance and getting beaten up by a black man. That's the whole reason why. When we got our women that are just going around showing off their pom-pom, twerking in the dances and acting like a whore, of course she's going to get thumped up. She's pouring herself out. She's going to be betrayed. That's who she was.
I need to tell you that women in hijabs do go to clubs.
But either way, hold on.
They go to them
women in hijabs go to
have a nice martini. They have martini.
Yeah. Now hold on. Hold on. We want to get some discipline. Yeah. Don't react to it, bro.
Sorry, we've heard this before. There used to be when certain women were raped, men would say, but look at the way they were.
We don't agree with that. We don't agree with that, right? But the sisters are here, hold on, family, right? Now, what I'm saying is, me personally, right? Regardless of how you dress or what faith you subscribe to, if a man's attacking you, I will push for the value that as a community, we want to definitely stop that. Now, other people have reasons why they don't want to. We want to pack that. But we want to get control and discipline, right? And we want to put our emotions on the shelves, and we want to be respectful. If we can. So as the sisters here, what is your perspective on this issue, right? Yeah, so you always want me to speak, right? Sorry,
let me go back to that point after, though.
You can, definitely, Sisters,
Okay, so I feel like for this, the original question was how can we get more black men in the community to protect women in these type of situations?
Minimizing the abuse that women go through. And this is an issue that goes through many communities, but we're homing on the black community because we are black.
Exactly. So I think it comes to sort of valuing, I feel like people don't, in these conversations, we can talk and say, in that situation, I would do this, or in this situation, I see that's how you should treat a woman. You don't just let somebody beat another woman. But when you're walking down the street and you got somewhere to go, in the context, I just don't feel like people have that same value. I feel like in these spaces, even talking about it, it's easy to get immersed in that feeling of I don't know if it's just having that pride or just with people around you, but whenever we're in public and you're in a space without people watching you, there's not people talking to you, there's no one watching your back of what you're doing, I feel like the mindset of black men and black women, just how we view each other, isn't the same. I think it has a lot to do with where you come from and what you've been through. And so in terms of changing it, I think that it just has to do with not, I feel like a lot of issues just come from expectation. People just, confirmation bias. You expect to see something so that when it happens, you're with it. And so if people can like break away from that expectation of like, this is a black person, they're dressed this way, so this is gonna happen, Like, no, a sister is a sister. You see her, she has we go home to the same mom, the same dad. Like, you gotta just see it as like, if your core purpose is to protect one another or unify one another, then that should be your. Don't walk into a situation thinking that it's gonna too much judgment or expectation sort of can like hinder you from being able to act how you want to act.
Okay. So I think as a principle we have to understand that. Are we saying that if a woman dresses a certain way, or does dress a certain way, this could render her more worthy of being beaten, and thus mean as a community we should protect her?
It shouldn't be that
There's
way.
the question.
We didn't use. It's not.
It should be protecting women. That's your purpose. Protect women. If you say you want to protect women, you say that's what I want to come. It has to be a conscious choice. Like
people are getting it. People are getting it. Misconstrued. Because what it is, he says a woman that is dressed in a certain way. When you see that woman, you know what her belief system is. You know what she falls under, right? She's got certain reasons why she dresses like that, right?
Assuming that based on your prior beliefs, but that's not the truth.
Yeah, but that's the overall. That's the overall. Look, you can say someone.
And I could have an education.
But what I'm saying is, you can see someone dressed up as a doctor, right? But you don't know if they're a doctor unless you don't know they're a doctor unless you start getting a cut and they start sewing you up in a certain way. But I was just saying it's a uniform, and in that uniform they have a certain role, a certain job, and a certain requirements. So when he sees that woman dressed in that certain role, and he knows that woman's got a role and requirements, that's what saves that woman. You understand? Because he knows that she needs saving because she follows them requirements. A woman that is saying that she can be a lesbian and she don't want a man to protect her anyway. You know what I mean? And dress in any way how she wants to go into raves, go into dances. But I'm staying on the key topic, right?
The key topic. Do you want to speak?
The key topic was.
How can you gauge that from just
because the key topic was what woman got. The key topic was what woman got beaten up. Yeah. It was a woman that was going to a party, and it was a woman that went to a party. And if you go to a party, you see the certain ways that they dress and the way they portray themselves. And I'm just saying, the woman that dresses up in a certain way, like a Muslim woman, the way she portrays herself, them ways are the same ways that our women needs to be dressing up as well. Because that was a law given to the Israelites.
Let me just say that.
Understand that.
Why is our respect based on how we dress?
It shows your humility, it shows your humbleness and your sobriety, your sobriety. It's not cultural. It's not cultural. It's law. It's lawful. Like he was saying, there's laws, right? Given it was law in their culture, but it was law in our culture. We was taken away from that culture. It's our culture. They learned all of that from us. We were the first people on this giving out the laws. The Israelites were the first people to have the laws. The Ishmaelites, the Muslims, learned that laws from us.
So our women need to learn. So Proverbs give a Hebrew perspective, and he's always going to come from the angle. And
I'm coming from the angle of being Israelite.
But let me just say, listen, a headscarf, or a jilbab or burqa or whatever it is, doesn't necessitate that woman is like 100 and she's got everything in line.
But she don't deserve to get beaten.
I wouldn't say it, not at all. That's what I would say. The reason why I mentioned the actual woman in the headscarf thing, it's not always going to be the same. If it was if I perceived the husband-wife dynamic, let's say I'm in East London and a Bengali man and his wife, I'm walking past.
Yeah.
The only time I'm getting involved is if I can ascertain, that one of the two, the party that is being abused, is innocent.
Yeah. Well. So what I'm saying is you're approaching a situation, right?
Then I don't get involved.
But you're approaching a situation where you're seeing someone attacking. Hold on.
It's not my fight.
What if you were being attacked and I walked on by? That would be okay.
It happens all the time.
It does happen.
Each other.
I would, if I was getting beat up and you walked past, I wouldn't have the second thought about you. I wouldn't give a shit.
I wouldn't say, it was because of you why I got beaten up.
Well, let's go back to the original concept and let's not cloud it, right? There's how can we minimize women getting abused? And we're using this concept
of dealing with male violence.
Yeah, so you're right. It is males doing
I think the sister was on something though. The value of the women.
Yes.
All we've discussed is women.
Right.
The problem is male violence.
Just let us discuss it.
Yeah,
that's the view that you've come to. You've already concluded that. Let us conclude our own conclusion.
We're moving on now.
Yeah. But first of all, we need to discuss what is the source of that violence. Since you're talking about the dynamics between the man hitting the woman, because we need to talk about female violence as well.
No. We don't need to talk about that.
It's small.
It exists, but it's a very small proportion.
Not based on what I saw from this. Not based on what I saw from the CDC reports. Not based on what I saw from the CDC report in 2010.
Yes.
To look at the crime statistics.
Well, I'm saying we will.
But let's talk about it.
We will get a female violence. What I'm saying is, as a community, right? I think that we have to push forward. What is more concerning, right? Yeah.
Start with the kids. You start and it goes up. What kids see, they do what they see. So I think that if you need to, or children, when you do, I feel like people who commit violence, they've seen violence. It's not just like
I agree,
you know?
but we have to identify that there's a shock value, right? So, for example, if a woman hits a man, this is bad, right? But if a man hits a woman, this is worse, right? There should be a reason why I said this. Yeah. So no one should be in anyone, but surely we agree that a fully grown man hitting a fully grown woman, there's a different dynamic, right? And I'm saying,
yes, there is.
What do we have to do to minimize that? Now, I understand that you're saying that, you know, some women might do certain situations and get them there, but I'm saying that as a principle, you should never get there. Even if they run up their mouth and swearing and screaming in public, there should be no Mike Tyson in the street.
I'm saying if she's...
You have to identify, but first, for us to be able to have that discussion, we need to identify the causes, the roots.
That's what I'm saying. It's these vices, it's the vices that lead to this, which is what the brother was on, and I think people might be misunderstanding him. Is when you're, for example, this scenario that happened, you're at a club, highly likely you're under the influence of alcohol, you're under the influence of drugs,
maybe.
You've also been banging your head to like drill music for the past 3 hours that devalues women and chats shit about them,
bitches and hoes,
right?
and stuff.
So all of that, contributes to the psyche of the male enacting the violence, and I think you have to address that, and the value they place in the woman in order for you to move on.
Back in the days, it was about winding up on a girl and wind up on her, like it was about vibes in with the girl. It wasn't about trying to fight them. You know what I mean? So they've lost the morals. They've lost the morals of even why they're going out to go.
So that sort of just reflects society. Again, it's just
a
direct reflection of the culture influencing the people's actions.
Go out to have fun and mingle.
You're in the club and you hear these things, and like, you know, that's another source that we can attack right there, is what you're putting
into your soul
before you do these things.
Traditional culture has basically said to men, women are your possession.
It's our culture though, mate.
That's always been
That's what I'm saying. It's black empowerment. It's not about white empowerment. You're saying about culture. You're not a part
What's
of
that?
our
What's
culture.
it?
This is a part of us, you know. Because remember, you're from Jamaica, innit? I'm from Jamaica as well. So I'm growing up, I've seen like you just said, it comes from the home, you know. Like I've seen my mum go through things, and if it's a testimony, you can all know it's nothing new. I'm sure your mum been through it. I'm sure certain of them.
I'm not gonna lie, my mum never went through that.
Certain mums hadn't.
No, it's patterned different in different cultures,
different things, but you know what I mean? Like,
but
some men are holding that face like they haven't, but their mums have been through it.
Like it's like we either agree with it or don't agree with it, right? It's either it can happen, it can't happen, right? So I'm saying, if collectively, if we say it's something we don't want to see, right, regardless of whatever the woman has done or what music the guys listen to, right, as a community, how do we stamp down on it?
Yeah, but that's the thing. As a community, we need. The thing is, there has to be a community.
It has to be a community.
We have to, as a community, say it's not acceptable.
Right.
Yeah. If we're not on one wavelength when it comes to how we treat violence, how we treat drugs, how we treat the vices within our community, then it's always going to happen. Like when it's mad.
But you see what I'm trying to say? You see, man, like think that us there, we can't be around trying to police every one of these raves and every one of these dances, fam.
You're right.
You know what I mean? That man could turn around and just try and shoot you.
That's why I'm saying it's not my fight as well, because some of these.
But remember, I'm starting to starting principle, right? The starting principle is you're walking down the street and you're seeing violence towards women from a man, and it's like, what do you feel inside, and what do you feel your responsibility is? Yeah. Because on the video that surfaced, there were people around, men, and they were just watching. Yeah, and I'm talking about Mike Tyson punches.
But you know what though? Yeah, but listen, but the thing is, Raven, those youths might have felt rage when they saw that. Me personally, when I saw a man pop up banging, and it's not like she was fighting him. No. She was helpless.
Yeah.
So when you see that, it's rage. Yeah. But again, like my brother said, in this climate now where you step to a man and he pulls out a knife and he stabs you, yeah, why am I putting my life on the line for someone in a place where they shouldn't be?
For example, right? For example, just say this brother here, it's not gonna happen. Let's act this woman here, right? If every man in the park was outraged and did something, regardless of how big his knife was, he wouldn't feel like pulling it out. Yeah, because every man is on the same thing. You don't touch women, innit? When you come here, you don't touch no woman, right? So, but if everyone's wishy-washy, I was like, it's not to do with me.
So you believe?
It's not necessarily in the situation. It's like when you're talking to your friends and they're saying things that are aggressive and violent. You say something then, like, I'll be walking down the street and a couple men like start harassing me and hollering at me, and their friends don't say anything, and they could feel like that's low-key inappropriate.
When you say hollering, what do you mean?
Like, like, hey girl, like your ass, like this is not sexually harassing.
So listen, I'm not an advocate. I'm not an advocate for it, but is that what you specifically mentioned? Is that violent?
It is. It makes me feel unsafe. I feel threatened. I feel like I'm not safe. I don't know what you're capable of.
Can I say something?
You're making me feel unsafe. I'm not.
Can I say something?
The thing is like when the friend doesn't say anything, and he's like, oh, maybe he feels kind of way about it, and he doesn't say anything. They'll say, oh, it's fine. My friends don't care. No one's saying anything to the guy that's not okay to say. But if you say in private, like, dude, I think there's a problem with what you're doing, they'll think
as
about
if
that.
the guy's
never say
anything, right? Yeah.
That treatment, that view of women as an object.
That's the thing. It's the respect, innit? The respect need to be nurtured. Yeah, like me personally, I've never done that in my life ever. Like in my old 29 years, I've never done that. But some people, like you said, are facilitated. Sometimes even the mothers in the houses allow they pump up the youths to do this. So maybe women raising their children.
That proverb they use shake what your mama gave you. That's what they like to use. I'm just saying, go on.
I'm saying certain parents facilitate this behaviour. So I'm saying.
So the sisters have made a request, and they're saying that if women are walking down the street and men are approaching them, first of all, do you feel that there is a way men can approach her, there should be no approaching at all?
I think in the street, it's not appropriate. Like at a club, at the library, at a cafe, sure. But if I'm walking down the street, I have headphones in, saying, oh, I like your ass, it's wild. If you come up to me, you're like, I like your hair,
you
I like your
shoes.
Personality. You know,
don't just look at the ass.
Right, so like, I won't respond well to anyone complimenting my
So I'm saying we have fallen so far from a community if we feel that using these sexual objections. Say, bro?
I'm gonna.
Yeah, well, let's get a 70 because I can't see what you see, right? But let's get a 70. Is this good? What you see? How far can you see? Yeah, you good? Yeah, brother, take it over now. All right. Yeah, good. You see the women for the men thing? All right, good. So what we're saying is, if we've fallen so far as a community, if we feel that it's acceptable to walk to a woman and just give sexual innuendos, and that's going to get them to be our wives or girlfriends or whatever it might be. And I think as men, we should listen to women. Like, we should know that's like, we have to think. You've got daughters and sisters and mothers. Would you want your father to talk to your mother that way before when he was courting her? So if the answer is no, why should we accept it if our friends are doing it?
That's a good point.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Right?
The thing is, how many of our parents did that?
Well, I don't know. They would never tell me. They would never tell me.
How many, you know what I'm saying? I'm not like.
No, but today we are seeing this, right? I'm saying, like, here's what I don't want to happen, right? Hold on. Here's what I don't want there to be a female-male dynamic where it's like the females are saying it, we're saying this, and we've got this competition, right? At the end of the day, as men, we have to feel like that women are worthy of being protected, right? Yeah. And they're getting protected from men, meaning us.
Beyond our women, as well.
So what I'm saying is, obviously, women have the freedom to do what they need to do and so forth in life. Whatever. What we're saying is, they have the right not to be pursued and harassed by men, right? And if we see it as men, what do? Yeah, these are our sisters, our cousins, our mothers, and so yeah. And the sisters say they're not comfortable with these kind of stuff, right? So I think collectively we should have a kind of code of way of being, where when we see that we stamp it out.
Do you think that's a predominant attitude within the black community?
Yes.
Do you know any feminists?
I don't know.
We do.
I genuinely don't know because I feel like I'm just saying that from my perspective. I know people who go out and they enjoy that. Some women find that as a confidence thing, like, you know what I mean. So I understand. You're from Brooklyn, you know, it's a different thing when you
insecurity, and they seek that security, right, to get told that they're beautiful.
Yeah, well, and that's
what I see. What I was hearing when she was saying that was more so like the same way how if you see someone speaking just with like prejudice, or whether it be race, sexual, like whatever it is, it's just speaking up. It's like speaking up against that culture so that other people can be more aware of it, and then it sort of becomes less okay. It's kind of just like dismantling this like security in that. What if
it's perceived that women are actually accepting of these? That I'm not, and like I said, I don't condone it, and I've never done it, and I never will. But I'm saying, is there a world?
That it's okay.
Right, but I'm saying, is there women that facilitate that idea?
I'm sure there are.
Right.
But,
So then we need. So then.
If majority of women are saying like, I'm not comfortable with that, or like, it was a phenomenon on the internet that like women were saying like, we don't like that, we don't like that, we don't like that, and so many men were coming out and saying
majority
like, majority don't.
See, I've never seen any posts on it, but it's enlightening to know that women don't. Like personally, I just don't think that's the like igniting a relationship based on that. It's not going to be respectful after that. That's just my own personal.
Me personally, from what I've seen, I've noticed men trying to come to women and women on a high level not being interested, right? And that says something like, if they're not interested, your game is off in the sense of your approach hasn't worked, and that's saying and something we have to do.
You've not seen. Look, I personally seen man say, baby girl. And the girl, she's smiling and she's acting all coy. That is facilitating that sort of behaviour.
Well, what I'm saying, can I say?
Go ahead.
So there's certain things that are going on in today's society, right? That what it is that you can use the internet, Facebook, Twitter, Tinder, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And they do it virally now, right? But in the old times, man would see a girl on the roads and be like, yo, shorty, you know what I mean? You look beautiful. Maybe not like your ass. It's a bit more prerogative nowadays. But they'll be like, you look beautiful. And some women might see it as it's a bit too forceful, sexual. But it's like the same like the brother was saying. Like some women was brought up with like, yo, shake what your mama gave you, and then they're twerking in their house, and their mums are letting them twerk, and they've got video recorders and that, you know what I mean? Beyonce, do the Beyonce, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you're seeing,
what's the direction?
But I just want to hit the nail on the head, right? So when you're seeing that, right, and you can see that, right, okay, that's a sexual side of things. How when you're seeing that they was talking about the Muslim, he brought up the Muslim woman that was dressed up humble. What would you do? Would you save that woman? You know what I mean? Because that woman, she's not going around showing off and shaking out what her mum is giving her, right? She's trying to be humble and trying to not protect her body. Because what it says is, right? It says that the honor yourself, right? Respect yourself, right? If you don't show respect to yourselves, like how a woman should respect themselves, by nature it is known that men are made for the woman, and the woman is made for the man. No, obviously the vagina and the vagina and the penis. It's just nature. It's just nature. Nature shows us that men are attracted to women and women are attracted to a man because of the penis and the vagina thing. So as a woman, knowing that that men are attracted to you, why they have Muslims do this now is saying that these lot can't see my woman because she's a very attractive woman. She has to cover up and humble herself. Only my eyes can touch that because it is lustful to see that. You understand? And
that may be your culture, but that's not everyone's culture.
I want to say something.
Let the brother stand and you jump.
And we do all that, and it's like it's not shameful in certain cultures. So you have to be aware of everybody else.
I'm not talking about people. Remember, this is another person's mind, another person's eyes. You know.
Very true.
So when it's another person's eyes, you can't control their thoughts and mind. But when you can show off yourself now, you're putting things in his mind.
Is it you seeing me as an object, or is it me just coming out?
Let me say that. We need to take into factor the social, the social conditions that is perpetuating that kind of psyche towards women being a sex object in the first place. When everything that we see when we're growing up is a woman naked on a billboard, all these images are being bombarded repeatedly that indicates a woman is like an object. You are advertising a car, a woman with a bikini sits there, and so on. So you have to look at all these images and how we are constantly being affected by these.
So if we know that now, let's not fight against it. Let's try and just say, let's find a solution to the problem. And then they wouldn't be able to see it.
So that's hold on. Can
and the women jump in.
I'm not finished.
There's freedom of speech. There's free to say that you look beautiful.
I'm not finished.
Let the brother finish, and the sisters will jump in and respond. No. Before you get there, let the brother land.
No, it's not just simply the women covered up. I mean, of course, that is a religious requirement if you're Muslim or you're coming from this tradition.
Right.
But even within, I would speak from an Islamic perspective, even women who are not covered in hijab and so on, for us as Muslims, what we are commanded to do is to lower our gaze. it's lower gaze and got our modesty. You understand? So we not having this physical aggression and contact with women and so on from an Islamic. That's an Islamic perspective. I'm just saying that. But that's fine. I'm just sharing with you that perspective. Yes. Now, in order for us to curb this particular situation with the sisters and men harassment, it comes with values, it comes with education. I think it comes a lot with values and education. So, for example, parents and so on need to have conversations with their children regarding these issues, regarding respecting women, how important it is to respect women, etc., etc. So these are the ways I believe that that can be curbed, as well as what we were speaking about earlier, violence against.
What about power relationships? Surely it's about
big up the sisters, them, you know.
It's about power relationships. It's about giving women more power over their lives. Men will always have their opinion, whether they're religious or not. Women need more equality, better careers, same pay. Right? That's what we need. And then all of these things will fit into their proper place.
Yes, yes. But since we're discussing, but these are, that's one thing. But I'm talking about the whole attitude towards women, the psychology, the attitude. You know. So again, it's having an exact same. So it has to do with the discussions we have at home. The more we need to transfer these values. Women need to be respected. You can't hit women, etc., etc. Education.
So let's start. So the sisters, you wanted to say something. Okay. Go ahead, jump in.
I just want to emphasize the aspect of equality and how you were saying how women were made for the men and women should cover themselves up because of the temptation and also like just being modest. However, I feel that it's sort of like putting the role on women in order to protect themselves versus men controlling themselves. If like I don't know. Men need to control themselves. So if it makes the fact that you think that because a woman is not wearing clothes and not being modest or covering herself, it makes her.
Why I give that same analogy is because it's the temptation, right? With like, if it wasn't a woman being so beautiful and being made for the man, we wouldn't be.
You have to. That's the thing. You can't put it on.
Remember, women know that men can think with their penis and not with their head. Hold on. 1 minute. Is the issue the compliment that was made?
No. Wait. Before we answer, hold on, family. Let's understand. Let's understand the original context, right? The original context was how can the black community, right, minimize women being physically abused, right? This comes from. Hold on.
Only because I know one man says something about.
But it comes there. Yeah.
Is that abuse?
No. What we're saying is what do we do as a community to minimize women's physical abuse, meaning men beating up women, right? Okay. And what has been said is some women dress a certain way where they're going to be less likely to be protected because they're. But either way, so this is the conversation we want to have, and I'm glad you're here. So I'm wrap that. So we should, as men,
what he told me about is he gave a compliment.
No, that's different.
And then someone.
See how he presented it from his male perspective.
From his male perspective. But what I'm saying, I've been consistent in saying that I identify that as a problem, right? But I want a narrative which went back and forth. What I'm saying, as an overall principle, as men, we can never tolerate women being attacked.
100%. But naked.
As men, I'm saying, I think because it's our corner black thing. I'm thinking if I come from a community which we tolerate women getting beat, I'm going to leave the community.
I'm not even leaving the community. I'm badding up everyone in the community.
Well, I'm making a new community.
You know what I'm doing already? I'm riding out everyone in the community.
So what I'm saying is, what we've done though is we've changed that narrative. Exactly. We've changed it. Oh well, some of the women, because they're not dressed in a certain way, they might they're more likely to be in that kind of dangerous.
Okay. I think if a woman dresses a certain way and she gets a compliment, like if man them say nice bum, rare, I don't think they should complain.
No, I think you should complain.
I do. No, it depends. Like abuse. I think women, when they dress, I think like, because the thing is, your average woman, and they might disagree,
I'm sure they will.
I think the average woman, like if they get a compliment from the guy they like,
compliment respectfully.
I hear that, but everyone kind of communicates differently. You know what I'm saying? We know in society the different. So there's some people like you've got friends, you've got female friends that say, I shagged her man, or I took her. You got friends that say, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But that's just how they talk. It doesn't necessarily mean they're trying to be disrespectful. Your friend just talks like that, and when your friend says certain things, you look at your other friend like, she says something. So I feel like sometimes you got man them that they just talk like that. It ain't trying to be disrespectful, but
yeah, but don't you feel we need to have a universal principle, right? So I'm thinking if you fancy a woman, to start the conversation with her physical private parts and how much you want them, yeah, it might not be the best way to start.
No, I'm saying I hear that. But what I'm saying is, yeah. When it is dressed, what I'm saying is,
we're getting caught up in political correctness, and we got to balance it out with intention. But it's definitely cultural expression. We can't forget certain things that are cultural, yeah, like in the way that we express ourselves. And I feel like there's not every woman in the world that has an issue with that, yeah. But there's time and places and seasons.
But don't you think there should be? If you approach a woman, right? If we had a universal standard, we know that because it's standard, I might want to compliment.
Yeah, maybe. Universal standard of how a man approaches a woman.
But what I'm saying is, from what we're seeing, the hit and miss ratio, it seems to be more complaints for women saying, "I don't want to start the conversation." So we need to identify the women because you know what? I'm happy with a man to approach me to start talking about my physical appearance.
No, but what I'm saying is,
if there's a high,
what I'm saying is, if a woman comes out in a 1 minute,
there's plenty of women that do not mind that. So like,
yeah, 100%. No,
we have to have that conversation.
But what I'm saying is, bro, if a woman wears a
women are spending big money on their posterior. It is the fastest growing surgical procedure. Yeah, women are getting implants. And they want to be complimented on their rear. So you got to find the balance.
Are you listening? 1 minute.
So we have two women here that disagree. So we have to find
1 minute. Sisters.
I disagree.
What I'm saying is, in a if we're going to be realistic, we can be idealistic. I hear we can be idealistic. Yeah, I hear we can be idealistic. But as well as being idealistic,
not all women.
Sorry, bro.
One second, you're picking up on the microphone. 1 second.
As much as being idealistic, I feel like that's to be realistic. If a woman comes out in a push-up bra right now, and she got a push-up bra, especially pushed up to make her breast look a certain way and look seductive to men, and a man says to her, "Nice breast," yeah, I don't feel like she should be angry at the man because I feel like she's literally presenting it in a way that she wants attraction from men. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
Assuming that she wants attraction.
But also that's case.
Like, a lot of women do not get dressed like that for me. I know I don't. I don't get dressed for men. I get
no,
dressed
I'm saying.
I look sexy, I feel good.
Yeah, I know.
But it's not necessarily like
but
I want you to say something about it.
No, but the thing is, what I think you're missing out, yeah, is the fact that that's your opinion. But like Jedi said, 1 minute, Jedi. Sorry. Yeah.
Let me come in after you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, there's so much of a range of women. So there's women, yeah, I know women who like to be complimented.
Same, that's what I'm
saying. They like that. So what I'm saying is, what's respectful to one, yeah, that's all down to perception. So what I'm saying is, if she comes out with her breast a certain way, and someone says, "Yo, you got some nice breasts," you know what I'm saying? But a next girl might say they find that disrespectful. But I'm saying if you're out here putting it on a show a certain way, you gotta have more expectations of that. And I feel like that same woman, yeah, a lot of the time let's say just a guy coming to thing, he might not be disrespectful, but he might just try to approach a girl on the road. And women are still off standish with guys that they don't want.
But they have a right to be disrespectful.
100%. But what I'm saying is, if a guy, yeah, that they like comes, then they're cool.
But that's fine though. But that's
what I'm saying. So when the guy shoots the shot, you can't think of shooting the shot.
This is nature.
He could have shot the shot, and she could have liked him.
Maybe.
Because in nature, animals that mate and are attracted to each other is hit and miss. Not every stud that approaches whatever is successful. Yeah, this is just how it goes. Yeah, and this is how you get to pick the right mate. You have to go through a procedure, yeah, and there's different people with different styles, yeah, and we're gonna have to accept that. Also, another thing I was gonna say is it's never really frowned upon for a woman to approach a guy and say, "Oh wow, you got massive arms."
No.
Walking down the
What are
road.
you saying?
There's women like ZZ Mills. They'll come at a carnival and they'll be rubbing men's bodies and wearing.
But
the problem is men will never complain about this. The thing is,
maybe some men will.
show me
some men don't want to be touched.
Show me them men.
No.
Show me them men so we can
No,
discuss
what I'm
it.
saying is, yeah, there definitely be more. You think a Muslim man? You think if a woman comes up to a Muslim man?
How many Muslim men have been touched in the carnival?
No, but what I'm saying is, if he's walking through carnival with his biceps out, and a girl wants a Muslim man walking through carnival, he might live in Ladbroke Grove.
If he's got his biceps out.
Yeah, if his arms are out, he's wearing a shirt. It's hot. It's hot.
Muslims can't wear vests.
No, but I'm saying that if you have a
Muslim can't wear
if a
vests.
Muslim's already showing his arms out, then already he
can
wear a t-shirt.
He can wear a t-shirt.
He can't wear a t-shirt.
But I'm saying it's like this year.
What are you talking about, man?
We are talking about men. We've changed. We kind of changed to a guy. We're trying to wear a guy, but.
So many women say they don't like to be covered.
So many.
I agree.
If you find one that does like that, then holla at her.
But how are you gonna find her?
Communicate. Like, you know.
No, what I'm saying, sis, I'm not disagreeing with you. I agree, yeah? I don't think my mum would appreciate someone calling her, hey, Miss Big Booty, or whatever. You understand?
Yeah.
But at the same time, there are women that maybe, yo, wagwan, pretty, yo, big legs, yo, fitness, whatever, boom, 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 boom. So, like, at the end of the day, yeah,
what we're saying is in order to find out what kind of woman it is, someone has to shoot the shot. And once he shoots the shot, a guy might think to you, and if you don't like him, he shoots the shot, you're gonna shut him down. Or he's gonna find out that you do like him. But he has to shoot the shot to find out.
I guess we're saying that shot just needs to be shot. That shot doesn't have to be like it doesn't have to be the only shot.
Definitely, I agree.
That's what we're saying. We're just saying that shot, other shot, other.
Yeah, there's other options.
I hear you.
The women that say they don't like this approach.
Is that the majority approach that you guys get?
Sorry?
Is that do the majority of guys that approach you come to speak to you about your body?
No, the ones who do are men who are in the street, men I don't know.
Yeah, but every time it has happened, it's not been like,
never been like in a way like, oh yeah, I'm here for that.
So is it rare, in terms of the amount of guys that actually try to approach you, what's the ratio of those that approach you sensibly and those that just try to comment about your body?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Like,
I think primarily for me, it's definitely sensibly, mainly because I'm a college student. I'm in a university campus, and it's a small campus. People are respectful. I don't live in a big city, so I understand that in a big city, big people, you know what I mean, you pass them, you never see them again. But what we're trying to do is just, it's just like a culture thing, a communication culture. It's just one aspect of our, dating culture that could be improved upon.
But you guys are living proof that that's not a norm.
I live in a city,
so what I'm
like,
saying is,
majority of the time I walk down the street and that's happening. Like I can't remember. I'm from New York City, like Brooklyn, and like majority of the time that's what's happening. And I always.
So what they're specifically commenting about your body, or just calling out,
they're
hey,
calling
beautiful.
out my body, or they're looking at, especially like looking at me, or like looking at my body. I'll be alone. I'll be at nighttime. It'll never be somewhere appropriate. If I'm at a nightclub, low key, you could try that. Especially if I'm drunk. Like if I'm at a nightclub, that's a whole different story. But if I'm like walking down the street by myself
can't look at your
home,
body.
in my headphones it don't feel the same.
No.
That's what
I'm saying.
It's impossible to police this.
Yeah.
This is
what I'm
the
trying to
problem.
show you is this. Yeah. What I'm trying to show you is
People are gonna look. They've got eyes.
As a man, if a woman dresses a certain way.
This happens whether or not I'm dressing that kind of way.
No,
as
but that's
well.
what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, like depending on how a woman dresses, I'm telling you, and from a man, and I'm sure all the men will agree with me, that's gonna dispense this focus that men are gonna put on them.
I'm sure.
And all of our friends, we know that's how it is. So what I'm saying is,
depending on what the garment accentuates.
Yeah. So if a woman is out in a thong and a bikini and her breast out, and then she's saying she doesn't want no one to look at her. It doesn't make it doesn't. No, but what she has to realize is everyone operates differently. Everyone's perception of what respect is different. Do you understand? So your perception of So what I'm saying is, so your perception of respect might be one thing, but your friends might change. Then the girl over there, hers might change. Then the next, so there's never going to be a universal thing amongst women about what is respectful. So I feel like if a man's being you can see a man's being disrespectful if a man says, you dirty gal, come over. But if a man says, nice booty, and you're wearing a thong and walking down the road, and you're literally doing the walk, you know what I'm saying? You know the walk I'm talking about.
Yeah, but you don't even have to be that extreme. And to be honest, I wouldn't advise a man to start a conversation, nice booty. Yeah, but there's settings, like maybe on the beach, there's settings where it just might be.
You could look, but you don't gotta scream nice ass from afar.
I hear you.
It's like there's another way to approach it.
Like I don't know, and also
it won't work out
on the street. It like not only it's your conversation with them, but also like not
I'm
everyone.
not worried about myself.
Everyone in the area.
Saying about me. I'm just saying about me. I'm just trying to listen to you lot's argument and see how realistic
That's not the only situation. When I think about like harassment in the street, it's not I'm walking with a thong. It's like I'm walking home from school.
When you say harassment,
not necessarily like I came from a club, because I don't club out.
I think this might be an American issue. It might be an American issue.
I don't think it's an American issue. I don't think women not
as bad as what she's saying over here. Definitely not.
But how you define a harassment? Is it the initial pitch or the continuation of the pitch?
The continuation of the pitch.
Right. So even though you've identified,
like,
the sister guys.
So if I go, how you doing, sis, and you would say, what would you say?
I'm not interested, or I was like, even if I'm not, I don't say anything. I just continue walking, and I'm clearly not.
So, but you haven't defined to the person that you're interested.
But you know what? You can't say don't continue because there's man that have talked to a girl. She's walked away. They've run after her. No. Don't tell them. You can't tell them not to do that because there's man that have run after the girl. They've continued. They've got the girl's number in the end, and they're married now with children.
Yeah, but then there's a girl who got ran after, and she feels unsafe where she lives at.
I'm not saying run after.
Not run after her, like, not like that.
I'm saying.
The women that say that unsafe, innit?
1 minute, Raven.
So
1 minute,
identify that.
Raven. 1 minute. I'm not saying run after as in run after you literally. I'm saying there's man where where a woman, has said she's not interested, and she keeps it moving, and the guy has persisted. You know what I'm saying? And in him persisting, he's found the love of his life, and he's married right now. So,
how many times does that happen? How often is that where like you're getting persistent and chased after?
Some girls are like that. Some girls like to be chased.
As women, let me interject. As women, do you feel that? Hold on. As women, do you feel that men? Hold on.
You can't tell a man with you because you're basically telling him that basically if he followed what you're saying,
he won't have you, right?
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying.
Do you feel that men listen to this narrative you're giving? And I see consistency there. I've seen this narrative so many times, right? Especially the black community, right? Because that's what I'm looking at.
I just don't think it's realistic.
Well, maybe. But
I understand what she's saying.
What I'm trying to understand, how can we do it? Because this is a consistent narrative and this is a consistent response. And I'm saying that what I'm getting from the women is, and I understand, the reason why we're here is because of men like women. It's because the first initial concept was, how do we minimize women abuse in the community? And we identify women abuse by a man licking down a woman like Mike Tyson. Yeah. So, and it came down to, well, if they dress a certain way. And the question was asked with...
No, I don't agree with that though.
Yeah.
Like, I think a man trying to court a woman, and men having, and the sisters understanding that they come from, uni campuses and they might come from a different background. There's people that come from all sorts of backgrounds. So I feel like these conversations sometimes trample on people who might come from poorer backgrounds with lesser education or that communicate differently. Sometimes, no, because what I'm saying is
demonized.
No, but I'm saying the man them communicate differently, fam. I'm saying just in general, the man them communicate differently. They don't necessarily, and there's girls that communicate differently. There's women that, so that's what I'm saying, fam. So I'm saying there has to be some understanding to the fact that might not be down to bad intention, and that can't be, like Jay said, that's going to be impossible to be policed. Now, don't get it twisted. Me, I don't chase after girl. I don't even.
Chase after you, yeah?
No, come on, you don't know where it is. So like, no, it's real life. I don't court girls. A woman has to show interest in me because I feel like when a woman shows interest, she wants that. You know what I'm saying? If a man trying to, I'm not with that all chasing gal and gal trying. No, gal can't run my head.
So you give the game to the guys then?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I agree that these men should stop. But what I'm saying is, I understand that there's man of different standings. So there's man that might not. There's man that might not get as much traction with women as me. You understand? So now, I'm being 100. You get me? So them man, I know that them man, they might have to be more. I see them man move a bit more savage with their thing. No, I wouldn't use the word savage because I don't want the sister to take it out. But they move more. You know what I'm saying? They're putting more effort into trying to get women. You know what I'm saying?
All right. So there's differences. There's persistence, and then there's like Modine, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's persistence.
Because there's
Modine. Some guys have a problem, and they try to talk to every woman that passes and whatever. And I think that's an issue.
For themselves, it's in themselves. That's nothing to do.
That's a personal thing, But like, all I'm saying is, we got to be careful how.
Learn from that. People see that and they're like, oh, that's how I talk to women. They see those men carrying out this like self-fulfilling, like, just.
But there's also many men that take women out on dates. And then there's also many women that say they won't talk to a man unless he's got money. Do you know what I mean? There's women that strip and say like, rah, you got to shower me with money in that way. There's all kinds of people. So what we got to do is be careful of not trying to police how humans want to be naturally. like just because of our own personal
That's
experiences.
what we're kind of just speaking on, like, you know, that's how we feel, like, going down the street. I'd rather, me personally, I'd rather have someone respectfully approach me, or, like, if the setting calls for it, I'm at the club, you're right, like, go ahead, like, I'm at the club for myself, but I feel like the club is a social place.
Yeah.
You want to communicate, meet new people, that's a place where it's appropriate.
But I'm not saying man should slap your bum, you know. I'm not saying man should come and slap your bum and all of these things. But I'm just saying that if
he
a
wants
man's
the right to
approaching...
talk about the bum.
Different men communicate, that's different.
No, I don't. I disagree. I think as a community, we shouldn't start. This is game, isn't it? Right? Yeah. We shouldn't start with the most sexual desires, right? I don't think that's necessarily that's going to work. I think that might only work with a certain narrative where a woman actually really likes the physical feature of the man, and she herself has a low self-esteem. That's how I've seen it, right? From my observation, right? The sheer majority of black females have told me they don't like this. And the ones who say they do, I have identified low self-esteem in many aspects.
No,
right?
I wouldn't say that.
And that's what I've seen.
That's a very unfair statement to make.
Go ahead.
And the reason why it's a very unfair statement to make, I say 9 times out of 10 of the women who dress a certain way, like they dress that way to get attention.
That's a different narrative, though.
The only difference is, when the attention comes from the guy they like, the guy they're looking for, they're okay. And it doesn't really matter how it comes, If it's the one they want, if it's the one the woman wants, it could have come with an R statement or a this statement. They're gonna look over it, give it a blind eye because they want that one. That's how women are, But if it ain't the guy she wants, then she might take more offense. And this is what I'm saying.
But
so
before we jump in, the ladies have identified harassment, meaning that they've approached.
I'm not with no harassment.
They've seen the physicality. They said no, thank you. So they don't like the compliment or the physicality. But it's like there's more. There's more compliments coming.
I tell a man, if you start out on that thing, you've lost more.
But that's
out of 10.
So I think that would be a better place to start, right?
You've lost
teaching the man the game.
See my idea of harassment, I seen you today, I'm on your case, very rare, won't leave you alone, following you around, like, right, you're harassing. Next day or a week later, I see you, rare, I found out where you work, or rare, this is harassment.
That's extreme harassment, bro.
No, it's not, that's not even as extreme yet, bro.
Extreme,
like, extreme harassment is deep, But what I'm saying, my thing of harassment isn't just an irritating one-off encounter with someone that is too persistent and just like, because I feel like that is like something that's happened from day one.
Yeah, but
do you know what I mean? Like,
do you not feel that the women have a different dynamic?
No, I'm not saying that they don't. I'm not saying they don't. Yeah. But what I'm saying
from
is,
you as a man,
from knowing women, from knowing women, I know that. No, what I'm saying is, no. 1 second. What I'm saying is, I've spoken to many women about this, and I've witnessed it, and I've seen it. We call it chirpsing. So from school days, it's like a sport that I understand, and it's how to go up and start a conversation in the street with a woman, and I've seen it been successful more times than not, and that's just the truth, isn't it? Like, so for me, sometimes persistence is the key. My thing is this, if you're having negative experiences from it, I can understand, that those are undesirable. I think there's fine lines of personal space, contact, the things that you're saying, blah, blah, blah. But all we can do is try kind of culture ourselves like to be like more respectful, because the main thing is, if you're chatting to a woman, think of it, it could be your mum, it could be a sister,
it's what we said from the
whatever,
beginning.
That's the main thing, isn't it? But that persistence thing, I don't think we can really do much about, because
I think we can react. We can see it. You can jump in now in a second, but it's the reaction to the words, right? So if I come to you and they're clearly standoffish and we're seeing fairish tendencies, it's like, for me that's a no-no, right? And that's where it's like, if I saw that happen to my sister or my cousin, it's like, nah, rude boy, step away.
I think in England,
not being funny,
I think in England, amongst the women who do dress in a way to get attention, I think the women who do that in England, 9 times out of 10,
that's different.
They're not going to be surprised by this reality. So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, like it's something where that's something that they expect, even if they're not fully with that. When they dress in this thing, they know they're gonna get hella attention from man. You know what I'm saying, fam? So it's like,
and that is a big conversation we can have.
Like
but then you're encroaching on women's freedom dressing that kind of thing.
They dress like that, they should expect man to move to them in a manner that's
not in a manner that's like I feel like
you could expect to get a variety reactions, yeah, from men, an increased one. You should expect that, knowing that you are a human. You have to interact with society. You see how society works. So if you go out with certain talks, you don't deserve to be harassed and attacked for nothing. Yeah, you don't even. But what I'm saying is, you should be expecting, if you are aware of your surroundings or whatever, for a mixed range of reactions, yeah. And you might get a crazy guy that don't know when to stop.
If Jedi comes out of the gym, yeah, and he's walking past a group of gal, and he's just come out of the gym, yeah. Now, even if they don't say it to his face, 9 times out of 10 they're gonna make a comment on his biceps. 100%. They're gonna make a comment on his
saying to his face is the point they're trying to make.
No, but what I'm saying is they might say,
come on, bro. Like, this is what I'm saying.
Does it happen to you?
I don't think.
Well, yeah.
I don't think the hollering is the issue. I think it's how it's done.
Yeah.
So if a woman has a cleavage out and a bun out, she might want the attention, but not necessarily the negative attention. So
the negative attention.
The negative attention would be commenting sexually on her, like, that.
All right,
I want to tap that. All of that.
Yeah.
But what is that dress type called? When you dress like that, you dress what? You dress sexually.
But
that's what I'm saying. So if you dress sexually, why sexually?
Because you're imposing that she's dressing sexually. She might just say, I'm putting on something nice for myself.
Yeah, I know, but
there's a reason why they don't wear that stuff when they read the news.
Cool.
Or when they're doing stories to children. There's a reason why it's not. There's a reason why if she comes into the office dressed that way, yeah, it's not appropriate, yeah. Cool, yeah, maybe. But you're not gonna wear that. You're not gonna wear that to Dad's funeral. You're not gonna. You know what I mean? So, and then you're aware of something.
One time, there's two guys.
So when it comes to the system, when it comes to uni, when it comes to college, when it comes to all of these things, they know they can't dress like that. Yeah, and even if they go into their lecture with their breast out, people are going to look at them and say, "Why are you dressing sexually? Why are you dressing?" So where does that line change?
No, you're not going to say nothing.
One time, guys. One time.
We're in a hyper-modern society where women can't express themselves without being labeled as something else.
Yeah, I think that's the problem.
At nighttime, I'm gonna want to wear that because I couldn't wear it all day, all week. So,
no, but what I'm saying is, when you're going to the workplace, people know you have to dress professional.
First off, you know that the sexual look that you think some people have, yeah, in some corporate places is designated as professional. Yeah, it might not always be arse out.
All right, can we get an example of the type of thing we're talking about? We pull up something. It's the age of 2019. Can we look at something that we're talking about? And we talk about if this is the type of clothing we're talking about or whatever. Because
why you guys are finding it?
Let me just one point. I'm saying, regardless of how the woman looks as men, just pattern up yourself, like just move to it on a respectful basis.
No, I don't move to gal like that.
Good afternoon.
I think we can be codified.
That's the advice.
Different cultures have different things as well. You know about the gypsies. You know about the gypsies. You know about the Irish travellers. Do you know about the Irish travellers? You know about the Irish travellers? You know they got a custom called grabbing. Do you know about it? Have you seen it? They got a custom called grabbing, yeah. And basically, when the young men and the young women get together, like the man just start grabbing up the gal. Like, you hear me? Like, yeah. But what I'm saying is, that wouldn't really run in other cultures, but in some cultures that works. So I'm saying,
but in this culture, they're saying there is a high consensus of people who are not comfortable with these.
But I'm saying there's a high consensus of people that are. So you got to balance it out.
Well,
yeah.
And that's why I want to see them here. I want to hear their voices.
If we're talking,
but they don't come to Speaker's Corner. Right now they're modelling or they're doing something.
If we're talking about the extreme harassment,
you know what I'm saying?
If we're talking about the extreme obscene comments, that's wrong.
The people that come to Speaker's Corner are political. So the women that come to Speaker's Corner are going to have.
In the comment section, we're going to hear what the women are saying.
100%. But what I'm saying is, in the comment section, we see who tunes into the comment section. People that are political. You know that?
No. Some of you trolls are political.
No. What I'm saying is, fam, the average people from the modelling and all these, they're not tuned into this thing.
Respect's making a good point.
Do you know what I'm saying? So that's when you're gonna get that narrative. But I'm saying them women, they ain't really got time to chat on all of these things.
Okay, but let's do a what if scenario, right? What if? Here's a what if scenario. What if all the sisters were saying they don't like this? Yeah. As men, what do we do? If this is what
I've already said.
You got game the women like you.
No, I've already said no. I've said that I don't think man them should move to gal like that. Like I don't feel like that's a viable way. I feel like the only time that a man, if he's walking down the road, should maybe approach a girl is when a girl gives you the glint in her eye. You know when she does the little when she does a little thing, then it might be all on.
And if you're calling across the road, yo, big booty, it's dead. It's not.
Yeah,
it's dead. Yeah, and
you're not gonna get no guy like that. You can't get no guy like that.
And I don't think that's correct or fair on a woman to do that. Get me?
Not really. The kind of
I don't think it's fair to do that to a woman.
There are people here who just aren't speaking. Like you say, how the girls who may do that aren't here. Men, like what? Like have you ever? You've never participated in
what?
that?
In shouting, oh hey, big booty.
Yeah.
Never.
In my life,
Never.
I've never done it.
In
my entire life.
Nah, and I don't think I've ever rolled up and said, "Nah, yeah, your bum, you know, like, or your breast, like, nah."
That will get nowhere. Yeah. And one of the rules you learn young is if a woman feels scared, it's not going to be.
It's not slick.
If I'm honest,
unless you're super drunk,
I can't lie. In the UK, like when we was coming up, cause we was the generation that went to carnival and done competitions with who could get the most numbers. We come up in that generation, so obviously, like. We used to call gal, you get me, well, go on, sweet stuff, what you saying? You alright? Like, come
what sweet stuff?
Come on, like,
yeah, but that's not what we're talking about.
No, but I'm saying, in the reasoning, I might be looking at
that's standard, that's standard. No, she bit my head, that's standard,
and rare. You know what I'm saying? Like, I might slip it in, Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like I've got a good energy of kind of realizing where a woman's at and like being able to balance. I don't think everyone's got them. And that's what I'm saying. I feel like certain man, they genuinely ain't got that. They genuinely ain't got to
for everyone. They're saying they're crashing the game for everyone. So the man is a small game.
There's no consideration. It just comes down to like you saying, "Oh, I look at people you consider." People, it's just more consideration of like looking at someone's eye, looking at someone's stance, and just valuing them more than just something of your own game.
What would you say men should do to fix this, and what women should do to fix this? Okay. So if we have to go back and fix ourselves, how are you going to fix yourselves? Go ahead.
Okay. So I mean, I think that for men, first, again, like you said, everyone is not just for your, women do not exist for your personal gain. So you see someone looking nice, I just don't think that it's not your right. A lot of men just sometimes I feel are entitled to saying or speaking, or everyone has to listen. It's
punching above their weight. Yeah?
Exactly, and I feel like women are, and this is exact opposite of women, where they don't think that. They tend to silence themselves. And so for women, speak up about it. Say, no, I don't like that. Turn around and tell that man no, so that he knows for the next time.
Yeah.
And then for men, consider the women, just be more considerate of what you're doing, just pay attention.
Now, remember, we started this conversation by how can we minimize physical abuse to the females in the community, right? And obviously we came with the whole dressing thing, and that was one solution. Like, if women dress a certain way, they might less likely be abused physically, which I think is quite how it went there.
Who said that?
Someone threw it, and that's why we got. One of the brothers said it. He took it somewhere else. He didn't necessarily mean it that way. But what I'm saying is, this conversation is smart because there was a video going around where some young man took off his clothes to actually fight a woman and beat her up in the street outside a club, right? And then some people say, well, if she was dressed more,
modest.
then the blows would be lower.
The blows would be lower.
Yeah, as in there would be less blows or none at all.
Because of how she dressed.
But this is what the people are pushing for. But what I'm saying is, as a community, how do we protect our women? Are the women worthy of protection?
Anti-Black Men Association.
That's a good question. Are the women? Ask yourself. Do you think the women are worthy of protecting?
So me, if I was to walk out and see any brother smacking at a woman, my instinct would be to stop that, right? Yeah. But some brothers have shown a fear. They feel like sometimes they might try to stop it, and the woman goes, "No, that's my lover. Don't be involved."
You gotta gauge it. You gotta gauge it. Yeah. But you can at least verbally intervene. Yo, walk on, like boom, 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 and you gauge it. Like you get me, like. But you gotta be.
Leave it. It's my
Like, you might. But I still might be saying, yo. I still would be like, yo, brother, calm down. Like, you get me?
I said to the brother, it's not my fight.
So hold on. So let's get a picture, yeah? Sister's here. There's a black man doing MMA blows to the face, to the kick, and the ribs, right?
No, I'm going
what are you doing? You got one problem, you're like...
No, I can't. I gotta go straight in.
For me, you have to go tackle the guy, get him on the floor, and stop him in it, right? That's just me. I would like to think that the community I come from, I'll be joined up in it.
Yeah,
but if I look behind and I'm the only man wrestling this man on the floor, thinking, "Whoa, is that what we're about? Is that what time it really is?"
I think the only time when it might be a bit thing is if the person is someone that's very treacherously known in the ends, and the people that are there ain't very confident. So if it's someone that's known to do proper, like, you know what I'm saying? So when you get involved, like she's getting banged, but when you get involved, you might get shot in the head. I feel like that's the only time when our community might be a bit more paused. But I think in general, the way our community is, if you see,
you might move to a
but I don't feel like, I feel like if someone knows that already, I feel like that's the only thing that will
I'm saying,
in general.
first things first, think about your personal safety, and exercise caution when intervening in any physical situation, That's the best advice I can give you. But many people have died over that,
Yeah, of course.
Like, you get me? The woman will turn around and kill you. Who knows, Just be careful, But the first thing is to try and intervene. So like I'm saying, you're verbally letting man know that there's someone else here and I'm coming towards you. But like, if you just jump in and you get knocked out, what good are you? Get me? So be cautious. Get me? I don't know about this taking man down and all that. I don't know how much Raven is trained in that. But realistically, we really just, everyone's safety is paramount, isn't it?
But what I was saying about
what you saying, Krav Maga, the Tottenham thing, innit?
There you go.
I know these things.
There you go. Yeah. So what I'm saying is,
slightly changed still. The best of them still.
What I'm saying is this, as a collective idea, right? If the sister's getting hit, right, all the man them are on.
We're gonna stop it. We're gonna stop it.
If we're all together, regardless of who that man is,
one man or two man, we're gonna make an interview.
No matter what happens. No matter what happens.
I'm not saying man wouldn't intervene. All I'm saying is,
this is the conversation because this video surfaced and not only was the man licking the woman down, there was people around and they were like, it's right.
I feel like you lot are doing a disservice with the video I'm thinking about, because there's two sides to that story, and I feel like the side the side that I think we're leaving out, I think the story that the girl was going out of her way doing bare madness before this event. So what I'm saying is,
MMA blows.
No.
What did man say, man? What did man say? There's a reason to kick a granny down a flight of stairs, bro. Here's a reason, bro. Yeah, me.
But I'm saying it's not physical from the woman.
Like I said, there's a reason to kick a granny down a flight of stairs, man. Quoting Chris Rock there. Get me?
Firstly, the man is wrong. But what I'm saying is, my little sister, which I love, and if any man put his hand on her, I take him out. I tell her, know how you're moving with yourself out there. Because if you're going out antagonizing beef and moving mad, then you're putting me in a dangerous situation.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I think when a woman doesn't take that responsibility,
this is an issue. This is an issue.
That becomes an issue.
Yeah, and this is an issue.
But the man is more. Anyone first, whether it's the man or the woman, first one to put hands. Even when woman puts hands,
the man is
that's
more
just as bad. That's just a woman putting hands on a man is just as bad. You know why? No. Let me tell you why. Because what it is a draw out. And if a man reacts, the man will be demonized. You understand? So like women who do that and draw a man out.
I can't do like for like.
Let me call Amanda Nunes. Come down there and give him a one right,
One last thing. No, because this is something I experienced. The reason why I have to take this. The reason why I have to take this stance is because I don't feel like we should make women in any way, shape, or form feel any sort of comfortability about putting their hands on men.
No, you're right.
So the reason why I'm saying it's just as bad, is because end of the day, I have been in situations, where women are being violent, shouting, smashing stuff, and when the feds turn up, it's me that's the bad guy. You understand, fam? And this could have caused real big problems and
that's a different dynamic.
I'm saying, fam, it's the seed when
you know many men have been killed by a crazy woman or by a woman, and the fact that we have to put crazy woman when a woman kills her partner, we have to put crazy woman in front of it, like as if to soften the blow. Like women can't be just as violent, and I feel like in 2019, when we're pushing for equality, we got to deal with these things equally. There can be no gender bias. If you're talking about domestic violence,
I have gender bias.
If you're talking about domestic violence, there should be no gender bias.
So I'm openly gender biased, right? And I believe that no one should touch anyone, right? But it is worse if a man touches a woman. That's just my principle.
But like I said, look, I live in an area. Where a woman killed her man and her kid.
Okay, so here's what it is, right? And listen, there's always an exception to a rule.
No, it's not exception. No, you're just understanding. You're just understanding. When you go to do safeguarding, you come to realize these things.
Let me explain what I meant, and then you can tell me no. Here's what I'm saying. I'm saying we should never put hands on anyone, right? And I'm saying it's worse if a man touches a woman. However, despite this, if a man comes home and a woman is being violent to the mother or the children, and then their life is in danger, in this situation, this is the exceptional rule where the man can actually lay hands on the woman because he's protecting others who might not be able to protect themselves.
Yeah, I just don't know why
or even himself.
Okay, I don't know why we have to build up. 1 second.
I feel like that what you're talking about, Raven, women hide behind that. What you just put there, women here are saying this, and they hide behind it, and when they hide behind it, they want to do the domestic violence, draw a man out, and there's a lot of men in mad situations, worse situations than a woman would be if she got a black eye. Yeah, because they're becoming criminally convicted and all of these things. Man are losing their children. Yeah,
that's the issue.
No, it's not. It's not because it's connected, fam. Right. It's connected. It's all that. So what I'm saying is, I don't want to give any woman out there any comfortability in thinking there's a time when she should be violent towards a man.
There is no time.
The reality is, my mum told me, never put your hand on a woman, but she also told me never let a woman put her hand on you. You understand?
The issue of this situation, though, was the man's reaction, because he had that power. The reason why it's so wrong for that man to do that is because of his strength. Men are biologically stronger, so for him to give it his all, go full out like he's in a ring on her, that was just not necessary and it was wrong. So I think that in those situations, like, yes, I think that just as much as she should not have provoked it and brought that out, it also needs to be a conscious.
No, he's worse in that situation.
It needs to be a conscious realization that
and that's why I have to stick to that concept, right? Like I said, men should not be touching women no matter at all, right? Especially MMA blood. Yeah, it's not like for like. And I know it's gonna be controversial. I don't think people should cheat on each other, but I definitely think women should cheat on men. Why? Because if a woman cheats on a man and she gets pregnant from someone else, that's even worse to bring someone else to a child in the family. So I do show biases on sexual nature because of the biological realities we deal with. That's what I'm saying. So now you as a man, you agree with what I just said there, right?
No, I don't know if I agree.
Well, I'm talking about from the cheating concept, right? No one should cheat on each other. No. But if a woman goes and gets pregnant outside the wedlock and brings in the next one,
I feel like that gives us men a little out. No. I feel like sometimes
it might be, but there has to be a biological reality in life, right? And I'm saying as men,
I feel like
should not touch women.
Hold on, wait.
No.
What does the law say? What does the law say?
And you can't touch anyone.
No. I'm saying in the terms
Yeah,
of
I'm safe, ladies. Yeah.
In the terms of women committing crime, is it considered worse?
It's the same.
And now they no. Hold on, wait. Are they considered? And do they?
It's full of joke, man.
No. Do they get? Is that the reason? Is that the reason that women get higher sentences?
Do they?
Yeah, they get higher sentences for committing crime. Full stop.
Well, they're men.
Yes, of course.
I didn't know this. So that means it's biased towards women, then, right?
It's biased towards women in the sense that it seems like it's more disgusting or more demeaning if a woman commits a crime. Obviously, you're the breadwinner, you're the thing. You're not supposed to be out here robbing or stabbing.
I didn't know this information.
Yeah. So that's why, like in places like Holloway, you know what I'm saying. Like when women get sentenced for a certain thing, it's like long sentences. They get 10 years of thing, but you don't necessarily hear about it because obviously women are not the ones mainly offending.
Yeah,
obviously women are offending.
Yeah, but
you understand?
But it's on a lower level though, right?
Yeah, but in the terms of the law, like obviously a man assaulting, it depends on the level of it. You can class as common assault, ABH, GBH, or grievous bodily harm, or actually bloody murder, attempted murder, and you get what I'm saying.
So what we were talking about before you came, brother, is we were talking about how to minimize women being abused in our community, right? And like what can we do to try to minimize or protect women from abuse? And everyone had their own different ideas and stuff. But then it moved on to like men harassing women, and is that abuse and so forth. So and this is and then you've brought to the conviction of women actually being worse, which is something I didn't know.
And you would think in the court system, they would be looked down upon when women come in, and committing.
I would assume that in a certain case they would be let off more often, but that's just me of how.
I think given the benefit of the doubt, I think more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But when actually convicted of a crime, they are severely punished.
Well, there you go. This is something I'll have to Google that one, but I didn't know.
It's crazy. Because I had an auntie who was incarcerated and she did a 10-year sentence, and it was like the whole 10 years she had to do.
And what similar people have got off earlier, say?
Well, I mean, most.
So men have got off.
Yeah. Men will definitely get a lot shorter sentence than 10 years. She didn't rob no bank or anything, but it was, not proportional. You know what I'm saying? So you can blatantly see the disparity.
Well, that might be a good conversation to have. But I think now we're at the end. We're at the end of our corner. Yeah. So we had probably like 3 hours. I don't know how long we lunch for. But next week we'll try to cover more issues, whatever. And hopefully you can leave your comments in the section. And thank you for Brother Mackie here coming in, concluding for us, giving some information. Next week, tune in. All right, take it easy.
Big up.
Trust me, no science, man. No science, man. Shalom, man. Hey, it was meant to have that talk, man. I bought the books.
Content over everything. From your melody.
Man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV. Listen. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV. I don't listen to ITV. I just listen to COE. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV. I don't listen to COE. Man, just listen to COE.
But this is far away from the camera, you know. It looks mad. Yeah.
Man, not even know ITV, not even listen to the MUM, they just listen to COE.